Welcome to Jets Overtime, presented by Nissan. Eric Allen inside the BetMGM studios. The New York Jets fall to 3-11 on the season with a 31-24 loss to the Dolphins in Miami. As we bring in Eric Coleman, this game had everything. It included a hot start by the New York Jets. They had a lead at halftime for the first time this season. And then when it looked like all hope was lost late in the game, they were trailing by 7 points. Brandon Echols, with his first career pick six, ties it up, but unfortunately for the Jets, not enough. Tua Tagovailoa's winning touchdown pass goes to Devontae Parker, and the Dolphins escape with a 31-24 victory.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was a valiant effort by the Jets. I thought they got off to a great start, both offensively and defensively. They really set the tone early. I thought the Braxton Berrios getting into the end zone in that first quarter was awesome. I felt like Zach Wilson was very controlled. He understood the blitz attack of the Dolphins and did a great job of managing it. And in the second half, the momentum kind of stopped. Miami started blitzing more, getting a little more pressure, but the Jets did respond well. I love the interception by Brandon Echols. I thought Bryce Hall had some good plays down the field, preventing touchdowns. It was just all over. It was a great effort by the Jets. It was just too little, too late. Tua Tagovailoa was able to manufacture a nice drive and end up with the winning touchdown. But I thought the Jets had a great game plan and executed it very well.
We're watching some of those plays right now. What did you think about Mike LaFleur pulling out all the stops today, E? You're talking about that touchdown run from Braxton Berrios. That was his first of his career. Sure looked like a design run from my seat. Then later in the first half, you got a 3rd and long where Zach Wilson completes an underneath pass to Jamison Crowder, who literally threw the ball across the field to Braxton Berrios for a lateral, and they convert there on 3rd down. We just saw the little throwback to Zach Wilson where he was able to create some space. Look at this. Just showing his athleticism. He could not get the ball out on time, but he hits Ryan Griffin for a long gainer. What do you think about LaFleur today?
I thought LaFleur had a great game plan today. He pulled out all the stops. This 3rd down play where Crowder threw it back to Berrios was an amazingly designed play. I've never seen the play like that. And Berrios did a great job of, once he caught the ball, making a couple of the guys miss and moving the chains. But just a well-designed play. It was fun. It was exciting. It kept everyone engaged. That throwback to Zach Wilson where he, kind of shook off a couple of defenders and threw the ball down the field to Griffin was amazing. It just showed his athletic ability, showed that he wasn't giving up on the play and kept his eyes down the field. Just a great job by LaFleur today. I thought he did a great job of coming into this game with a nice game plan. I think that it was the tough part in the second half was getting into the rhythm. They weren't able to stop the run on defense, so you can't get into a rhythm on offense, and the offense suffered for it. But I thought it was a great job by LaFleur today.
Yeah, we're going to get to Wilson in a second, who was interviewed by our own Bob Wischusen. But what did you make of the rookie quarterback's effort for the duration of the 4 quarters? Because as good as the Jets' offense was in that first half, and they were really good, think about the response. It was 10-0. Miami scores their first touchdown. What I really liked is the Jets went right down the field and had an answer, and they took that 10-point lead back. But you get to the second half, and the Jets did not score any offensive points.
Yeah, it was nice to see the resilience in that first half. You see them battle back. They got the lead, they lost it, they got it back, and went into halftime with the lead. But I think that Miami made some great adjustments in the second half. I think they confused the offensive line a couple of times where guys were coming in unblocked. They had a great scheme, and it was tough for the Jets to sustain the drives. Especially when you have a holding penalty here, something happens there where the drive ends and you can't get back into the rhythm that you had at the beginning of the game. So definitely frustrating for the team, on the defensive side of the ball, not getting off the field on 3rd down, not being able to stop the run. I thought Duke Johnson did a great job of running the football for Miami, showing some extra effort. But overall, the Jets, I mean, they were flying around. They were getting, multiple hats on the ball, and I thought they did a great job of communicating on the back end as well.
Save those thoughts on the defense, E, because we're going to come back to that. Right now, we're going to go to Bob with shoes. And Zach Wilson today, 13 of 23, 170 yards, but he was sacked 6 times. Here's the voice of the Jets with the rookie signal caller.
Again, a lot of good things to build off of in the first half. At times, struggling to move the ball in the second half. Why do you think that first half to second half issue still exists for your offense?
I think it's just part of the game. You got to give credit to the defense. I thought they did a good job mixing some things up, and we just got to win. I think the game was just full of one-on-ones all the way around. I got to give the guys some better balls to be able to win, and then we just gotta put some drives together.
How hard was it for your team to get back to football after watching what happened with Elijah Riley?
I mean, obviously our heart's out to him, and we hope he's doing well always. But I think the motive is to come out and play harder for him and everything. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think we just gotta keep going. I think that's just the ups and downs of football.
For you, every game's a learning experience, I'm sure. So to have a couple of opportunities at the end with timeouts in your hip pocket, trying to get a 2-minute offense run, well, what do you think when you go back again to look at this tape you'll take out of this experience and learn?
Yeah, it's a tough situation. Just finding our completions. We got to be penalty free. I think that's the biggest one, and those will kill those 2-minute drives. And so it really just comes down to execution when adversity hits and all the pressure's on. And so it was a good situation to be in just to experience it. But we got to put something together there.
All right, Zach, thanks. Appreciate it.
You are watching Jets Overtime presented by Nissan. The Jets fall to 3-11 on the season with a 31-24 loss to the Miami Dolphins. We just heard from quarterback Zach Wilson as we bring back Eric Coleman. E, I was struck by something Connor McGovern said after the game. He said, the Dolphins made a lot of quality halftime adjustments, especially in the back end. They played more zone early, which is not a trademark for these Dolphins, but they got back to man late.
Yeah, I think they played a lot of zone coming out early just to throw things off to make Zach Wilson beat them. They wanted to see if he had the wherewithal to read the defense, hit the open receivers, and he had a lot of success doing that. And then when they came out in the second half, I think they went back to their bread and butter. They said, we're going to dictate how this game goes, and it's going to go back to how we were playing those last 5 games. And they started blitzing more. They started playing a lot of man-to-man on the back end, and they really weren't allowing Zach Wilson to get comfortable back there when he was going through his reads. So, it was a great adjustment by the Dolphins. Unfortunately, the Jets weren't able to really catch on to it and find that momentum in the second half.
Man, how tough is that from a player's perspective? If you're on either side of the ball in that third quarter, Miami outgained the Jets 125-7. So that means 2 things. That means the defense is not getting off the field, and that means the offense is not sustaining drives.
Absolutely, and it goes hand in hand. When the offense isn't able to move the chains and get those first downs and keep the drives going, it makes it tough on the defense. And now when you're on the defense, you're not getting off the field on third down. You're allowing big plays. You're allowing them to continue to get chunk plays. You get worn down. And now the rhythm is thrown off between the offense and defense. And, instead of trading possessions, forcing them to punt, now they're just sustaining these long drives. You're wearing you out on defense. And then the offense is sitting on the sideline getting cold and not able to get into that rhythm.
I don't know if we have enough time in this program to solve all these issues defensively, but the run defense, 42 carries for Miami. Your buddy Anthony Beck would say, anytime you're running 42 times, you're going to win. And the Dolphins indeed did today. 183 yards on the ground, 4.4 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns from Duke Johnson. What are you seeing? Obviously, some of it missed tackles are the culprit, but what are you seeing overall? And Lorenzo Faticasi not in the lineup today due to COVID.
Yeah, I think that the Dolphins' offensive line was able to get some movement on the Jets' D line. We talk about the Dolphins' offensive line; they're not known as being this physical front, but I thought they did a great job in their scheme today, opening up some creases for Duke Johnson. And Duke Johnson ran the ball. He was very physical. He ran behind his pads. He made some guys miss and just fought for every yard. So, I think it was some misfits going on. I thought that the Dolphins offensive line did a great job. And then Duke Johnson, when he had one-on-one situations, he made a guy miss, or he was able to gain an extra 3 or 4 yards after contact, and did a good job of that all day.
How about the effort from Brandon Echols in the secondary today, though? 3 PDs, his first career pick 6. Our own Ethan Greenberg talked to Brandon after the game.
All right, now joined by cornerback Brandon Echols. Brandon, let's start on a positive note for you. Your first interception, your first touchdown. When you lined up on the play, did you have a feeling the ball was going to come your way?
Yeah, I kind of did, just, by the way they lined up. But it was also good, team communication across the board. I want to give credit to Michael Carter, the second, the DB. He called out a play, and I trusted it. And so, he led me, to get my first interception.
How good did it feel, do you feel like, to not only get that, but also to give your team a jolt and to tie the game at the point in which you did?
It felt good, but I also knew, that we still had more work to go out, and do. So my focus, even though I got the interception, my focus was to try to get back on the field and make another play.
Brandon, you didn't play against the Dolphins in the first go-around at MetLife Stadium. Now that, what did you hear from your teammates leading up to this week? And also, how do you feel like you performed today?
Just recapping on the last game. We all was just emphasizing all the, the different things they could do, all the possibilities that could happen. And we just, wanted to come out to the field and apply. This whole week was just, being in our heads, communication, and execution. That's the biggest part, is the execution part. We executed some plays we did, but just, that's just something we got to work on as a young team.
Coach Saleh has talked so much about how, as young players, especially like yourself, this is the part in which you want to see young rookies develop. You had your first touchdown today. When you think about when you first joined the Jets in April, how much do you feel like you've grown, and how much more do you feel like you can show before the end of the season?
I feel like I've grown a lot, especially within confidence, and I'm speaking for all the rookies, and including my other teammates. Our confidence, just, it gets better and better every week going into the different teams. And that's, for me, that's a big thing for us, just confidence and, not, going out there panicking.
Awesome, Brandon. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're watching Jets Overtime presented by Nissan. Eric Allen inside the BetMGM studios. We just heard from rookie cornerback Brandon Echols, who made a tremendous play in the fourth quarter to get the Jets back in this ball game. A pick 6. Not only does he come down with it, Eric Coleman, he takes it to the house. And you know what I liked from that interview? He said Michael Carter, the second, the nickel cornerback back in the lineup today, said, this is coming. And Echols was right there, and he cashed in.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about communication, especially on the back end. And we talked about it in the pregame show. Michael Carter being back in that lineup, he playing that nickel position, you're a linebacker, you're a safety, you're a corner, you're a communicator. You have to be so much involved in the defense that you have a great understanding of what's going on. And that's why it was great to hear him communicating that call and letting his cornerback know, watch out for this play. And then them listen to it. There's that trust between the corner and the nickel, and he broke on the ball. And now you have a pick 6. So all about communication. It's all about communication, execution, and Brandon Echols did a great job of that on that pick 6.
You played safety in the NFL for a long time, double-digit years. What do you make of Tagovailoa? Because the Jets might be lining up against a guy like that for the very near future, the next couple of years, unless Miami does indeed go big fish hunting in the offseason for a quarterback. Seems like he has a lot of success, and he's accurate throwing the football outside, but is there a teaching point here? Can't you force him to throw more to the inside where he seems to struggle a little bit more?
Yeah, I think Tua does a great job of managing the game. You know what I mean? He takes what the defense gives him. He's very accurate down the field. But at the same time, there were several times where he gave the Jets opportunities to make some interceptions. And so I think the point of emphasis would be to, whenever he makes those mistakes, you have to make him pay. You have to get the interception. You have to turn the field around, give your offense another opportunity, and make him pay for those mistakes. So definitely leaves 3 or 4, sometimes 5 opportunities out there for you on the defense. You just have to take advantage of them.
You hit the nail on the head, I think, here early in your analysis. The Jets lost 2 games to the Dolphins this year by combined 14 points, 24-17 in Week 11. They come back here 4 weeks later, Week 15, and it's 31-24. You watch those 2 games. There is not a big discrepancy between these 2 teams.
Oh, there's not. There's not. It's a very thin line, between the success and losing a game. And when you look at these teams, it's all about momentum. It's all about the ebbs and flows and weathering the storms. And I thought the Dolphins did a good job of weathering the storm today. But I think when you hear Brandon Echols talk, they're rookies. They're a very young team. They're learning from these experiences. And I think every time they go out there on the field, they're getting better. They're getting more experience under their belt. And pretty soon they're going to start turning around and winning these games and putting strings together themselves.
Yeah, Bryce Hall today for the New York Jets, a second-year cornerback, 3 PDs. He actually had an assist on Ashton Davis's first quarter interception. Unfortunately for Hall and the Jets, he was beat by Devontae Parker in the game-winning touchdown. For more on Bryce Hall, here's Ethan Greenberg.
Here with Jets cornerback Bryce Hall. Bryce, feels like you and Devontae Parker had a back-and-forth battle all day. Can you just take us through the entire game between the two of you?
Yeah, man, he's a really good player. He's physical, he's big, he's got good hands, and one of his superpowers is catching it in contested windows. And so just knowing that, man, I just try to be, I'm lengthy of myself, and so I felt like it was a good matchup. He got his fair share, and I did my fair share of getting at him as well. So it's just two competitors competing, and he's a really good player.
Bryce, going up against Tua Tagovailoa a second time around, what was the defensive strategy entering this game?
Well, we really didn't change too much from last time we played them. We felt like we were right there with them, and had we not kind of beat ourselves a little bit, we felt like we'd have played a really solid game. And so the game plan hadn't really changed from last time. We wanted to just be tight in coverage, be aggressive, and force them to throw contested balls. And our coach challenged us to come away with some takeaways, and so that was our plan. We felt like we could be in position to get some takeaways today.
Bryce, what worked so well for the defense early in the game, and what do you feel like got away later on?
Well, I think we stopped the run early, and you saw there were a couple ones in the second half that got a little bit out on us, and then I think it was third down. Getting off the field on third down was something we did well, and then moving forward, we got to be able to get off the field on third down.
And then lastly, Bryce, I don't know if you've heard this, how thankful do you think, or what's your emotion knowing that Elijah Riley's okay, he's traveling back with the team, member of the secondary?
That's huge. He's a warrior, and as you see, that dude, he plays with no flinch, and so that's one of his superpowers in the sense is that he goes balls to the wall. We never have to question his energy and his heart, and so I'm really glad that he's doing well and he's going to be all right, and I'm wishing him the best.
Awesome. Bryce, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You are watching Jets Overtime, presented by Nissan. Eric Allen inside the BetMGM studios. The New York Jets fall to the Miami Dolphins today in South Florida by a 31-24 score. We just heard from Bryce Hall. Let's bring back in Eric Coleman. Elijah Riley goes down in the second half, collided with teammate Kyle Phillips. Anytime you see a player on the field for that amount of time before being carted off on a backboard, man, it takes your breath away.
It really does. And prayers out to Elijah. I'm glad he's going to be okay. I was sitting here watching the game. I was really worried about it. I had to go replay it because they refused to replay it because it was such a violent collision. And I'm just thankful that he's okay. This game is a violent sport. And anytime you have someone have one of those injuries, your thoughts and prayers go out to them and their families. And just thank the Lord that he's able to bounce back, get back out there. He's traveling back with the team, and hopefully he'll get back to being his normal self very soon.
Yeah, well said. That's huge for the Jets and Elijah and his family and his friends and his loved ones. I mean, he goes down with a neck injury, but he's going to be able to go back with the team. Hopefully this is a rather minor injury, but I'll tell you what, it is a reminder each and every Sunday how physically demanding this game is, how violent it can be, and how these guys, and you know it because you've stepped inside the white lines, you put your bodies on the line each week.
Absolutely. I mean, every time you step out there, you're putting your body at risk. Because it's funny when you sit back and watch it, you're like, oh man, why not slow down here? But when you're playing, playing football goes against every natural instinct that you have. You're training yourself to run into somebody full speed and collide with them and bring them down. And it gets violent. And guys get bigger, stronger, faster, and those collisions just get heavier and heavier. So, just thankful that these guys make it out after every game healthy and able to get back to their families and feed them well. And, I just pray that for the rest of the season, you never see anything like that. It's sad to see guys get pulled out on stretchers, but thankfully, again, that Elijah's okay.
Totally agree there. How much do you think it changed the dynamic of this ball game from both offenses' perspectives? Miami did not have Jalen Waddle, who's off to such a spectacular start. And the Jets' most dynamic weapon offensively has been Elijah Moore, missing his second consecutive game. Hopefully, the Jets can get him back for the final two. He won't be available next week when they host the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Waddle obviously, going to be an elite receiver in this league for years to come. And had a great year. Elijah Moore, same thing. He's a playmaker. He's electric. And I can only, when I was watching the game, I saw some of the big plays by Barrios and all the other guys on the team. And it's like, man, I wish Elijah Moore was out there because I know that in some of those one-on-one situations, he'd be able to win those battles, get opportunities to catch the ball. And I think that he could have been that spark that got the Jets over the top. But, he's not healthy. You got to get him back out there, and that's the game. Next man up. When guys go down, someone else has to step up, and hopefully Elijah can get back out there on the field because he's such a great playmaker for this team, and really his effort out there inspires the team, and I think he pulls a lot of guys along with him.
So Miami runs it 42 times for 183 yards and gets the 2 touchdowns on the ground, but the Jets, they were effective running the ball too, E. You're looking at the numbers, 24 carries, 102 yards. That's 4.3 yards a pop, and that was without left tackle George Fant in the lineup. I'm thinking as I look back, it's too bad this team didn't have more reps in the second half because I kind of think their defense wore out, whereas the Dolphins played fresh throughout for 4 quarters.
Yeah, that was the big difference. Most of those rushing yards came in the first half. They were able to get into rhythm. They were able to sustain those drives, and it really did help the defense. When your defense is sitting over there drinking Gatorade, that's always a good thing. They get to keep their energy levels up when they go out there on the field. They're able to force teams to go out on 3 and outs and get the ball back to your offense. But in the second half, they weren't able to get off the field in time. They were allowing the chains to continue to move. They missed tackles, and that run game really wears you down. So it's just a vital part of the game. I know this league is going into more passing the football around the field, and but I think that running the football is still the core of an effective offense. You have to have that run game. You have to establish that dominance at the line of scrimmage and slow down the opposing defense's pass rush. So it's just a very important part of the game.
Are you somewhat amazed that we're sitting here late December talking about the Dolphins potentially being a playoff team? Probably before the season you wouldn't have been surprised, but after they started 1-7.
Oh, yeah. At the beginning of the season, you're like, oh, yeah, the Dolphins, they should be pretty solid. They had a good year last year. They start 1-7, and you're like, okay, what are we doing here? The Jets, I thought they played them well both times they played. But, credit to the Dolphins. They're on a 6-game winning streak right now. Brian Flores has them playing great football. They're playing aggressive. They're playing with confidence. And, I look forward to those days that the Jets are in that position because they're close. They're close. You see the enthusiasm from the coach. You see the effort that the players are putting in and how they want to be great. And I think that every week it just gets better and better. And pretty soon this team is going to be celebrating some of those victories.
No moral victories. You just said it. But there are little wins that you can celebrate, whether that be Brandon Echols having his best day in the National Football League, Bryce Hall showing up. I know he gave up the game-winning touchdown, but he's a very competent corner here in the National Football League, and he's only going to get better. You have to solve the issues defensively, but you're not going to solve all those problems here in the next 3 weeks. That's not realistic. But C.J. Mosley, again, double-digit tackles. Quincy Williams has been a find. Offensively, you ran the ball, and you're finally starting off the game on a positive note. Remember, for weeks and months, we talked about the Jets just couldn't get anything going in the first quarter.
Yeah, there's a lot to grow off this. You talk about C.J. Mosley, double-digit tackles again. I mean, this guy's a tackling machine. He's the tone setter for the defense. Quincy Williams is a guy who the Jets discovered as a young star. This guy is a special player. He flies from sideline to sideline. He plays with a lot of attitude. Bryce Hall is a great defender. I'm really impressed with the way he plays the game. Yes, he gets beat for that touchdown, but that's a great player. And in those one-on-one situations, you're going to get beat every once in a while. You have to have a short memory. I thought the play before he got beat for the touchdown, he showed great patience. He showed great discipline and poking that ball out on the sidelines. And then he came back and defended Parker on another slant route, the one that he got beat on in the touchdown. So, Bryce Hall is going to be a fantastic corner in this league. He's going to be here for a long time. Just a special type of player. And as he likes to say, he has a lot of little superpowers that he talks about. He's long, he's fast, he's competitive, and he's very patient. So I think when you continue to develop as that young player, he's going to be special.
I think the Jets are going to be playing games that have playoff meaning for them next December, because you're watching this team grow. Yes, they're taking on these losses, but Mekhi Becton wasn't out there again today. He's missed most of this season since week 1. Elijah Moore has been such an explosive player for this team. Carl Lawson went down in camp. And then you're going to add a lot of pieces in the draft and free agency. I know that's way down the road. On the immediate road, Jacksonville Jaguars are coming to town next week. Is it too much for me to say this is a game the Jets should win?
No, I don't think it's too much for you to say. I think this is a great opportunity for the Jets. They've been playing some good football. Now they have to put all three phases together, playing at home. I think it'll be great for the team for them to come out and have a great victory. Play complimentary football. They had a lot of the pieces together today, but it's just about finishing. Once they start learning how to finish as we get towards the end of the season, it's just going to make things easier for next year. As you mentioned, there's a lot of guys out. A lot of players that this team was depending on to have a lot of contribution to this team, and those guys have been out. So you gain those players back, you add in some more, and then the young guys who've been getting all this experience, this is just going to make this team stronger. They're going to be battle tested. They're going to be a one unit, and they really do believe in Coach Saleh, and I really like the direction that they're going to be going.
A great analysis as always. I'm waiting for my holiday invitation to your place, because that Christmas tree looks beautiful, and I know you got some eggnog over there waiting for me. Jets fans, from all of us here at One Jets Drive, happy holidays. We'll be with you throughout the week. Remember, next week it's the Jets and the Jacksonville Jaguars. For today, the Green and White fall to 3-11 on the season with a 31-24 loss to the Miami Dolphins. Good night.